tracing artists. All right, so it is that time. We are going to finally finish our 3D exploding shapes because last week we learned all about value and how to make 3D shapes look realistic through coloring. So now we're going to apply that to our picture that we started on the first week. Okay, so the first thing you're going to need is a Sharpie, and you're going to need some coloring materials like colored pencils or crayons, not markers this week. Okay, grab those and let's go. All right, so the first thing we want to do is we want to make our shape stand out off the paper. Okay, so I am going to first Sharpie all the lines. Wow, that really explodes off the paper. All right, so now I'm going to grab my coloring materials and decide how I want to color. So maybe all the light is in the front and it gets darker as it goes in. So that's something that I want to keep in mind when I'm coloring. All right, so let's see. What color do I want to start with? I'm going to start with like my blues. All right, so pick a shape, any shape. I'm going to start with my cube. Cubes are easy, easiest to color. All right, so I'm going to do, I like this blue color, okay? So this is kind of hidden behind the T. So normally when something is hiding, you will see probably more of a shadow, kind of like my box here. So maybe this is where I want to start with one color and make it really, really dark. And notice, as I get away from the inside, I'm going to brighten up a little bit. Okay, so that is just like we did with our value scales. I went from light to dark. All right, now the top is probably going to be a little bit lighter than that. So I'm going to keep the same color, but go a little bit lighter until I'm really, really, really light. Okay. And then the front, because these are both really light, I'm going to make this one a little bit darker, kind of like down here. And now it really looks three-dimensional because I've added value into my shape. All right, let's try doing it with two different colors, okay? So I know that yellow and orange are next to each other on the color wheel. And so maybe I'm gonna do this one, yellow, okay? So if this one, I want it to be dark here. And then I want to start really dark on here, on the inside, and get lighter as I come out. Light, 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 light. So how can I make it one step further darker? Well, if I add a little bit of orange, almost like a shadow, I can make it really pop by going where the darkest part is and blending it in. Now I'm getting a little lighter, getting a little lighter. And that's going to add even more of an illusion. And over here, maybe this would be the shadow part of it. Do one side orange here. Wow. Can I add black for a shadow? Yes, I can. So that one that I did before, if I want to take it even further and add more shadow into it, let's add some black into the really dark part. And then down here, where the corner is, I can add even more shade into it. All right, so I'm just going to keep going, and I'm going to color all the rest of them in different colors so you can see what it should look like when it's all done. All right, here I go. right, so my finished picture is done. Okay, so you can see how value into your coloring really helps add to making them look three-dimensional, okay, by adding shadow in between where two shapes are or underneath, okay? So once you get to this point, you can be done for today. You can photograph it and send it to me. If you want to do one extra thing, I've got something really cool that I want to show you, and then you can decide if you want to add that extra part to it. Okay, so follow along or take a picture of it and submit it into the Google Classroom. All right, let's go. So we're going to make a galaxy background, which you can do by doing some shiny gel pens or white colored pencils. If you don't mind getting a little messy, you could do some splatter painting and use an old toothbrush, or just wet some paint and hit it with your finger. So while that's drying, now it's time to cut out the shapes. Try to cut in between each of the shapes to cut the background out without cutting them apart. If you do happen to do that, you can always glue it back together. All right, so as you can see, my galaxy paper is almost dried. So now I'm going to be gluing my shapes into the center of it. Very carefully place it onto your paper where you want it to go. Might even look cool if it comes off the page, if some of the shapes come off the page. And oops, even Mrs. Hazelton happens to make a mistake. So I'm just going to glue it back in where I know it should go. So here is one extra step to make your artwork look completely out of this world. All right, so I hope you enjoy this project, and I can't wait to see everybody's finished work. Okay, so make sure you take a picture and share it in the Google Classroom with me. All right, bye guys.